Shahnameh, Tale of Zal, Part 3. Salam hameki, welcome to part 3 of our discussion of the Tale of Zal, here with Dr. Sahba Shayani. Salam, Dr. Sahba.
Salam, Leila Jan.
Thank you so much for joining us for this third part after leaving us with another cliffhanger last time. So we want to give a quick synopsis of where we are in the story right now, and then we'll go into the text?
Sure, yes. So at this point in the tale, we are at the place where Zal has been adopted essentially by Seymour. Seymour, through the grace of God, takes Zal from the mountain and decides to raise him. And last we spoke, we talked about how Sam has just had a dream that his son is alive somewhere, and he sees him coming down from the mountains of Hindustan, and he wakes up in anxiety and shame for what he has done.
Wonderful. And I have a question before we get started. So how was this text presented? Was it just in text form? Because many of the current copies of Shahnameh, or current things that we think of when we think of Shahnameh, contain illustrations as well. Were there illustrations that were done at the time? Were there illustrations that came with the book, or how was it presented?
Absolutely. So actually, no, the Shahnameh is meant to be an orally presented text. So there's a whole art called Naqali, in which the Shahnameh is presented and sort of acted out by a one man and one woman show. So it's like one person usually acting it out with a backdrop of paintings from the Shahnameh oftentimes. But initially, in the text that we have, they're all the manuscripts that we have are illustrated. So, for example, and there's specific parts of the Shahnameh that are more illustrated than others. So, for example, this scene that we just talked about last session is one that is seen often in the illustration. So I can think of at least 2 or 3 illustrations in different manuscripts of the Shahnameh, where you have this scene where Seymour snatches Zal and takes him up to his abode in Kuh al-Bors, depicted in beautiful styles. And depending on when, in what era these stories are illustrated, the faces and the artwork differ. So if you have Mongol era, all the characteristics have like more Asian features. If you have it a little bit later, they look more West Asian. So it's very different. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Good to know.
We are on page of the manuscript. I'm on page 168.
Okay.
And I'm at line 99 right now. So Sam wakes up from this dream and he's shook, and he turns to his courtiers and the magi, the priests, and says, what do you make of this dream? And this is their response. Ferdowsi writes, هر آن کس که بودند پیر و جوان زبان برگشادند بر پهلوان. So both the young and the old unleashed their tongues to the great paladin, to Sam. که بر سنگ و بر خاک شیر و پلنگ چه ماهی به داب اندرون با نهنگ. So that whether upon a rock or upon the dirt, the lion, the leopard, the fish, or the whale or the alligator, all of these animals, همه بچه را پروراننده اند. All of them have nurtured their children. They've taken care of their children. ستایش به یزدان رساننده اند. And they've given praise for their children to God. But you, تو پیمان نیکی دهش بشکنی چنان بیگنه بچه را بفگنی. You broke your covenant with God in such a way and cast this poor innocent child to the desert. به یزدان کنون سوی پوزش گرای که اوی است بر نیک و بر بد رهنمای. Now you need to turn to God, به پوزش, in forgiveness, and seek his forgiveness, for he is the one that can lead you aright or astray, essentially. So they tell him, finally, after all these years, They tell him, what the heck did you do? You know, you prayed for this for years and years on end to God to give you a son. And once he did, because you didn't like what you saw, you cast him out. Even animals take better care of their children than you did. So again, you see this critique of Ferdowsi, of humanity, saying, even animals do better than humans sometimes. Then Psalm has a second dream. چو شب تیره شد رای خواب آمدش کز اندیشه دل شتاب آمدش. So as night fell, sleep came to him again, and from all his thoughts, there was an anxiety sort of induced in him. چنان دید در خواب کز کوه هند درفشی برافراختندی بلند. So such he saw that from the mountains of India, so this is east of Iran, a flag, a standard was raised up high. غلامی پدید آمدی خوب روی سپاهی گران از پس پشت اوی. So a handsome slave came forward, and from behind him a heavy cavalry, a large army. به دست چپش بر یکی موبدی, upon his left side a mobad, a magi, a Zoroastrian priest. سوی راستش نامور بخردی, and on his right a renowned wise man. یکی پیش سام آمدی زان دو مرد, one out of those two men came towards Sam. گشادی زبان را به گفتار سرد, and he unfurled his tongue to him in coldness. So began speaking to him coldly. که ای مرد ناباک ناپاک رای, that cowardice and impure thoughted man. دل و دیده شسته ز شرم خدای, you who have washed your heart and your eyes from the shame of God. تو را دایه گر مرغ شایسته ای, if it is befitting for you to have a bird as your nursemaid, for the one to rear your child, پس این پهلوانی چه بایسته ای, then what the hell is this, hero, this, what do you call it, this state of paladinness and hero-ness to you? You're not befitting to be a hero and a paladin.
Wow.
Yeah? گراهوست بر مرد موی سپید, if it's a shame for a man to have موی سپید, to have موی سفید. Notice how the word sepid is used here, because originally it's sepid, and then because of Arabic and how the Arabs can't pronounce it, the word becomes sefid, right? So گراهوست بر مرد موی سپید, if it's a shame for a man to have white hair. تو را ریش و سر گشته چون خنگ بید, your head and your beard has all become like the pussy willow, that the flower that's very white. Yeah, so all of your hair and beard are all white. So what are you
Right.
talking about? Yeah. پس از آفریننده بیزار شو که در تن هر روز رنگیست نو. So turn away from the creator, meaning don't even think about asking the creator for anything. For every day there's a new color in you, meaning that you're not steadfast, you're not of one color, you're not of one substance. You keep flickering and changing, essentially. پسر گر به نزد پدر بود خوار, if the son was made abject before the father, کنون هست پرورده کردگار, now he has been reared and raised by the grace of God. So if you didn't give him his love, forget you, God reared him out of his love.
Wow.
Yeah? کزو مهربانتر بدو دایه نیست, for there is no kinder wet nurse or nursemaid to him than God. تو را خود به مهر اندرون مایه نیست, and to you there is no substance of love and pacts and covenants. Meh.
Wow. Well, it's so wild to read this now with our like modern understanding, because there's so many themes that I would think are more of a modern, like what is a duty of a father, like what is masculinity, and what represents you, and even like what is diversity, like, it's okay for everyone to be different. Like, all this it reads like a modern text of, like, this would be banned in the US right now.
Yeah. This is the beauty of these texts, I think, Leila John. You know, you read them and you see it's written in 1010 CE. It's completed in 1010 CE. You know, it's written even before that. So it's written in the 11th century, but still it's so pertinent to today's world and to today's life. And it shows you in a way that, for better or for worse, humanity has made leaps and strides in some things, but in some things we're still the same. We're still human beings, you know, and
Yeah.
still deal with the same issues. And I think this is vital for us to understand, because often we think, oh, these texts are from thousands of years ago. What good does it do me today? Forget it. You know, we have phones today and we have computers today, and look how much we've progressed today. Yeah, but we're still dealing with like essentially the same things. And it also
Yeah.
shows you that our ancestors were not idiots. You know, I think often we think, oh, those people, you know, no. He's talking,
Yeah.
you nailed it. He's talking about the importance of parenthood, of fatherhood, the importance of diversity, and of understanding that every being in this world serves a function and plays a role and is noble in their own rights and in their own existence. You know, so just because someone's different doesn't mean that they're bad or that you should abandon them
Right.
or that they don't deserve the love that everyone else deserves.
Right, but also just the messiness of humanity too. It's just
Yes.
like we're so
Yes.
messy and we were always so messy. And this is a king and we can like relate to the king like why aren't you a better dad? You know?
Yeah,
Like you wouldn't think that it would be that important in the grand scheme of things. Like why are they Chirabish girmidan? Why are they like bothering him so much? He has other responsibilities, but
exactly.
the responsibility for this child was like so important in the grand scheme of things even.
And it's something that you know, wanted for so long. When it's given to you, and again, this is even something very modern, you know, like we yearn for something, and then when it comes, just because it's not exactly how we imagined it to be, we're prone to casting it aside and saying, well, no, this isn't good enough, you know? And it's saying be grateful. You know, you cried tears for this, and now that you have it, you cast it aside. You're ungrateful for what it is that you received, you know? Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So Sam wakes up from his dream screaming, yeah, and he calls the head of the armies forward and he says, we have to go and find my son.
Oh no.
And there we leave it off for next time.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Okay, well that's an exciting point. Then yeah. So again, as always, we'll have all these lines. We'll go over each of the words in them. You can study them over the week and listen to them individually. Think about what roles we play as parents in society, what roles we have in accepting others, and how this really is such a timeless message.
Yes, absolutely. And also our the you know the appreciation that we should have for the ancients, you know, and our ancestors and the knowledge that they passed down to us. And just because something isn't in the form of modern technology and something that we value greatly today, doesn't mean that it isn't filled with important lessons that can help us in today's modern world as well.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, we'll be back next week with part 4 of this story, The Tale of Zal. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you. Khuda Hafiz.